It is my belief that this can-do mindset, this way of living, it's not a fade and a fad and a come and go. It's a way of living. And this way of living is 85% social learning. Monkey see, monkey do. You did what you did. I'm taking all that in more of a natural environment. So to be a can-do mindset, way of life, I think 85% of it is learned from others. 15% is some training to give you some actual tools and some language.
You work hard in your business. On the Profit by Design podcast, we ask the big question. What has your business done for you lately? Hi, I'm Dr. Sabrina Starling. I'm the business psychologist, the author of the 4-Week Vacation and the How to Hire the Best series, as well as the founder of Tap the Potential, where we coach entrepreneurs like you to design sustainably profitable businesses that give you more time for what matters most and more money in your bank account than ever. Because after all, we believe work supports life, not the other way around. Weekly on the Profit by Design podcast, we bring you tips, tools, and strategies from our own experiences and from the experiences of our guests who are entrepreneurial thought leaders and real life entrepreneurs, all to support you in making intentionally profitable and sustainable business decisions to live the lifestyle you desire. Hello, and welcome to the Profit by Design podcast. I am your host, Dr. Sabrina Starling, the business psychologist and international bestselling author of the How to Hire the Best series and the 4-Week Vacation. Today, we're here to talk about mindset. And I'm curious, as a leader, have you ever had the experience where, the challenges just keep piling on, things keep coming at you out of left field, and you're struggling to maintain your positive attitude, much less dig deep, keep going, and keep your team motivated? Or have you ever had that experience where you're just, as the business grows, there's just more and more coming at you, and you're doubting your ability to meet the demands placed on you? If you've ever had that experience, you want to be listening today, because my special guest, Denise Gabel, international best-selling author of The Can-Do Mindset, is here to teach us how to make things happen with enthusiasm, not just our own enthusiasm, but also on our teams. And so be sure, this is an episode you're going to want to share with your team members. Okay, and we also have something very exciting going on here at Tap the Potential. We are giving away copies, signed copies of my book, The 4-Week Vacation. All you have to do to get us to send you in the mail a free paperback edition signed of The 4-Week Vacation is to give us 20 minutes of your time. And what are we going to give you? Well, besides the copy of The 4-Week Vacation, we're asking you to take our Better Business, Better Life assessment. And when you give us 20 minutes of your time to take that assessment, we're going to show you how to master your time and profit for Q4. You're going to come away from that assessment knowing exactly where you need to focus in your business in Q4, your high value $10,000 an hour activities in Q4. So you start taking your life back from your business and becoming more and more profitable. So head on over to tapthepotential.com/assessment. So with no further ado, I want to bring in my special guest, Denise Gabel. We were brought together by the universe, Denise. Denise was my mentor when I attended the National Speaker Association conference just a few months ago. I attended for the first time, and she took me by the hand and guided me through and showed me what I could do to get the best out of it. And I got to know her. I think Denise has the most positive attitude of anyone I've ever met. And I know a lot of positive people, Denise. That says something. And what you need to know about Denise is she is a can-do-ologist. She is the author, international best-selling author of The Can-Do Mindset. And as with most can-doers, Denise finds her joy in empowering others to embrace the power of can. In fact, she's made it her life's work to do so. She encourages everyone she meets to stand in their authentic power, realize that they can generate their own happiness, and supports leaders and organizations in creating a vibe that attracts can-doers and retains them. And by the way, profit designers, can-doers are A players. Denise is an international best-selling author, professional speaker, and mentor on the power of change. During her tenure as Chief Innovation Officer at the Filene Research Institute, she led the prestigious I3, Ideas, Innovation, Implementation program throughout the United States and Canada. And most recently, Denise served as Chief Operating Officer at the Northwest Credit Union Association. Denise also served as President of the National Speakers Association Northwest Chapter. Denise, like so many of us here on the Profit by Design podcast, is a lifelong learner. She's a summa cum laude graduate of Eastern Washington University and served as a member of the Berkeley Innovation Forum at the University of California, Berkeley Haas School of Business, and she also graduated from Harvard Business School Women's Leadership Forum. Denise loves to share real stories and create the environment from which to harvest them. It's fun to follow Denise across the country by train, plane, and RV, and many call it Denise's way of building her next rainbow. Gizmo and Henry, her two rescue cats, travel with Denise everywhere she goes. So Denise, as you come into the Profit by Design podcast, what's been your latest adventure?
Oh, thank you, Dr. Sabrina. Gosh, my latest adventure, I'm still toying with, do I need to finish my audiobook? Do I need to start a second book? And I've decided, no, I just need to share the message with the universe. I need to be out with the universe. So I just returned from a group in San Diego, and we had a great time. And so, yeah, that's fresh on my mind about, well, how can I translate what we did there in person, for here on your live stream and your podcast? So, yeah, I've just been out there sharing that this is my life's work. This is what I'm on the earth to do. So that's part of my adventure.
Well, so let's kind of dig into that because you wrote the best-selling book, The Can-Do Mindset.
Absolutely.
How did this come about?
Oh my goodness. I've been told for years, you should write a book. You should write a book. You should write a book. So I started writing a book. And then, and this is where I'll tell you, you made a reference to it, when things get hard. Oh, my life got hard. All right. Just the normal hard that we face, as solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, moms, wives, business owners. And I did little breast cancer first. And with my can-do mindset, I thought, this is so annoying on my calendar. Why do I have to go in for 30 days in a row for radiation? It's just so annoying. And thankful, grateful that I didn't have to go in for chemotherapy. So that was the mindset I used the entire time. I had to put the book aside, pull the book out, barely got started on the book again. And my husband's health went downhill like a sled. And well, let's see, not that I'm extraordinarily aware, but 1,110 days ago, just over 3 years ago, I not only had to let my soulmate, Dennis and Denise, but I had to say goodbye. I had to make the decision to let him go. And I thought, okay, can-doer, now you hit hard. Now you hit extra, extra large hard. So that's kind of how the book came about. I think I used it at the time. Like I said, I'd barely gotten started. And then I thought, I need to finish the book. Dennis knew I was writing the book. I know I can help others with this can-do mindset. And now I know nothing I wished for, but now I know I'm an extraordinary expert on when things get hard. And what do you do when things get hard? So that's kind of how the book came about. And I had an opportunity to work with a branding coach and a book coach. I highly recommend. That's how we're successful, right? We can duets. We partner with people. And so I did work with a couple people, and they stretched my thinking. And I was so grateful because I was starting this boring leadership book in my corporate voice. And I knew it. I knew it wasn't very good. I thought, I don't know who's going to want to read this. Well, I don't want to keep writing this. And so it was great because somebody stretched me, and I'm very proud of the book. It's in my voice. You'll think you're sitting on the couch with this can-do goof. So yeah, I learned that. And then and if you haven't done this is a sobering and powerful exercise. I had a branding coach challenge me to write my obituary. Yeah. Well, when I first got the assignment, I was like, yo, man, oh no, my life has been flipped completely upside down, if not the switch off from all of that grief. And then I thought, wait a minute, I can try. And if I can't do it, I'll just quit. Or I'll just tell you, it's too much. So I started writing my obituary. Oh, Denise went on to be, a multi-international bestseller. People, I barely had the table of contents, right? This is like a long life ahead. Let's see. She went on, her love for leopard and bling manifested itself into an accessory line for your home and yourself. Haven't done anything on that, right? This is a long journey. And then where the can-do came from, I remember when I left my corporate job, the last corporate job that I have, a big COO with a corner office and a car, and I moved into a part-time innovation catalyst before, of course, I went on my own to build my next rainbow and do what I'm doing today. But at that time, I wondered, am I nuts? Do I think I can go from this COO to this part-time innovation catalyst? Am I nuts? Am I nuts? And then I thought, well, I don't think so. And of course, Dennis, it's in the book, Dennis offered, well, you can do it because that is your currency. Be the best leader I can be every day is my currency. It's something, your currency is something beyond your ego. So I said, oh yeah, for that reason, can do. I can show others that you can do it. And so one of the things that was most meaningful to me is a letter that Karina wrote me, an employee there at the time. And she said something to the effect of, Denise, your guts, your can-do, your commitment to leadership, thank you for living your brand, Denise, so she could live hers. Is that powerful? It just meant the world to me. So of course I put the excerpt in my obituary. I went on to be 102. I'm going to die when I'm 102, surrounded by my nieces and nephews, still a very confident woman, except I still have to get nitrous oxide to get my teeth cleaned. And guess what? My driver's license finally matched the weight of my real weight.
I love this, Denise. So this really just speaks to the power of mindset. And
totally.
Yeah.
One choice at a time.
That's it. One decision at a time. And so for those of you who are listening, if you're in that place where all the things are piling on and you're like, oh, I can't breathe, I can't keep up. This is what happens in so many situations when we decide we're going to take on something big, like, okay, now I'm going to write that book, or now I'm going to do this thing. Then the universe throws us huge curveballs. And it's so tempting to just give up and say, oh, I'm not meant to be, or
maybe I'm on the wrong path. And you might be, but you can remember this, listeners and viewers. I know you can, but you're also welcome to take out a quick pen or a piece of paper, your notes. This process of how you manage when you find yourself in hard, and how you then shift back over to can do, let's call it, this is subtle back here, let's call it channeling your cheetah.
oh,
Okay. Channeling your cheetah. Now, why the cheetah? First of all, Denise loves cheetah, and many of you do too. Let's admit it. And what's the fastest animal on the earth?
cheetah.
The cheetah. Here's the other cool thing about the cheetah. The cheetah can accelerate from 0 to 60. Do you know how many seconds?
3.
0 to 60 in 3 seconds. So that's why the cheetah, because here's the process we're going to learn. It's going to be super quick, super easy, and you'll be able to use this over and over and over again, and trust yourself, and it's repeatable. And trust me, when you hit hard, the can-do never left. It never left you. It's just a matter of we need to pull it up and count on it. So here's what you do to channel your cheetah. Number 1, feel it. Go ahead and admit to yourself, I am done. I am frustrated. I'm angry. I'm sad, mad. I suppose you could be too happy and be confused with all the options in your life. But the first point is you need to recognize and acknowledge and feel that feel. It's up to you if you want to share it with others. But first step is say, yeah, I'm frustrated. And then this is huge. 2, shift to neutral. There's a reason the gear shift goes park, neutral, drive, drive, neutral, park. And we do too. As humans, we're not going to be like, man, I'm so negative. And I can feel it. I'm super frustrated. Snap out of it. That was a Cher movie, Moonstruck. No, you're not going to snap out of it and then step over here and suddenly can do. It's not going to happen. So when we feel the feel, number one, then we shift into neutral. Neutral means a place for you. Where do you feel safe? Where can you get recentered? Where can you be re-energized? Where would you go, Dr. Sabrina? What would you do to shift to neutral?
Oh, I would go sit outside in my backyard, like just let the sun hit me and just kind of chill out.
Just kind of chill out. If I have enough time, I have a love of pens. I'll go buy new pens because I find that my to-do list with green and yellow and blue and red, suddenly it's just a little more exciting. I might take a nap. We might do yoga, meditation. I met a lady that makes 200 meatballs for her local Veterans Affairs house. She loves it, and it takes her quite a while to manufacture 200 meatballs. That's the first I've heard that. But all of us have a neutral. That's the point. Number one, feel the feel. Number two, shift to your neutral. Number three, easy. Ask yourself, what can I do? What can I do? And remember the cheetah. The cheetah can either just roll over, because that's all the cheetah can and wants to do right then. Or the cheetah can take 4 steps, or the cheetah can go from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, but you're still in charge. Feel the feel, shift to neutral, ask yourself, what can I do? What can I do? It shifts your mindset. What am I capable of? What resources do I have? If I've got, 2 days, I'm not likely to produce a glossy brochure to be able to hand out at the door like I originally thought. It's a great idea, but it's not going to happen in 2 days. But I could probably develop a QR code and they could go to my website. And in fact, it'll be gorgeous there and they'll get what they need. So feel the feel, shift to neutral. What can I do? And of course, that final step, go again. Go again back into your can-do mindset. And when you try this and you repeat this over and over, it'll work for you. You'll stop yourself and be like, yeah, I'm frustrated. Shift to neutral. What can I do? Go again back to your can-do mindset.
I love this so much because at Tap the Potential, we have a motto that small steps forward taken in a consistent direction lead to big change over time. And I see this time and again in these small businesses because we have so many things that impact our small businesses. We can lose a key team member. We can have a key customer drop off and all of a sudden the revenue's down and we struggle with cash flow and payroll and all these things. And it can get very overwhelming. And one of the things I know about us small business owners is we are not good at shifting into neutral. What we do is we go into problem solving and like, okay, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do that. And I think that shift into neutral piece, it allows us to get grounded and centered before we do something that we're going to regret or that's going to make more of a mess around us.
Yeah, you're so right. And it gives us a minute to figure out, am I solving the first problem or the right problem? Because sometimes just being able to stop, sit in your backyard, catch your breath, maybe it's a different problem that needs to be solved. And maybe that's today. And maybe that's the third priority given everything else and all those hats that you're wearing. Yeah, absolutely.
So, how do we support our team members when we see them losing their positivity, their can do mindset? How can we as leaders support our team?
Great question. It is my belief that this can-do mindset, this way of living, it's not a fade and a fad and a come and go. It's a way of living. And this way of living is 85% social learning.
Mm.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Mm-hmm.
You did what you did. I'm taking all that in more of a natural environment. So to be a can-do mindset, way of life, I think 85% of it is learned from others. 15% is some training to give you some actual tools and some language. So number one, are you living a can-do mindset? Are you living it out loud? Are you living it so people can learn from you that that's the way we roll here in your small business, in your household? Now, that doesn't mean off to Disneyland thinking, and Disneyland meaning a happy, happy place, always happy. Yeah, that doesn't mean you're going to jump out of bed every morning and go, can do, and you're going to sing that around the house some days. But it's also important to show to those colleagues and those around you, whew, I feel overloaded. I'm going to shift to neutral real quick. Give me a minute. I'm going to head outside. I'm going to, sit out on the patio. And when we come back in, let's pick that back up.
Yeah.
That's a demonstration of what you want them to be able to do, because they have hard too.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it. And, because they're showing up, they have stuff in their personal life that's impacting how they show up at work. And then there's challenges at work that go on. And so what I'm hearing you really speak to is we need to be willing to be vulnerable and be authentic with our teams. We don't need to be a puddle of mess. It's okay to admit when we are struggling and show how we get ourselves back to that can-do mindset so that they can learn from it.
Yeah, on an organization level, I watched this with Andy Reid. Andy Reid is the CEO of Security First Federal Credit Union in Texas. And he did this at an individual level, and then he modeled it on an organization level. And he just said, boy, it feels super frustrating here at times. Oh, he admitted that out loud. We all knew it. They all knew it.
Was the elephant in the room.
Yeah, it's the elephant in the room. Okay, it's kind of frustrating. Where's the center of our frustration? Well, there's some finger pointing, who did it, who, what, all that tends to happen. And there was also kind of turf and silos. That's my job, that's your job, that's our job. And, that just if it's not properly nourished, it just continues to grow in the size of the organization. So they tackled it. Feel the feel in the organization, shift to neutral, and really understand what problem they're trying to solve, get some energy. They ask themselves over and over and over, well, what can we do? What can we do? Mindset, go again. And their actual example that I heard back from Andy was that it used to take them 18 months to implement, like a complex new way of doing things. In their case, it was a lending system to serve an underserved population. Well, when the person came in and wanted to get a loan, they were like, we can get that to you in 10 days. 10 days? I don't care who you are. I need a loan. Wow, that's a long time, and especially with today's technology. So again, what can we do? What can we do? They broke down those silos, and do you know what happened? They went from 18 months to implement complex to 18 days.
Oh my goodness.
I know, 18 months. They implemented this new complex lending system in 18 days together by thinking differently, by can-do mindset, by blowing up the turf and the silos. And in that first 30 days, they generated $4 million in new loans for their community, for people to help. That's their whole mission.
That's amazing.
It does work. And whether we have 3 of us in the organization, one of us, my goodness, I have to model for myself sometimes. As a solopreneur myself now, I'm like, wow, Denise, and I have said this out loud, you need an adjustment. I'm reading email and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, God, if I get one more email, I could feel myself like getting frustrated. And I said out loud, you need to shift into neutral. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this wasn't so good because I went to the refrigerator and opened not one door, but both. And I had my old body in the refrigerator. And I thought, well, that long-term, that's probably not going to help. So, I chose to close the refrigerator. I think I took a brief walk around my house, wasn't very long, came back and thought, well, what can I do? How can I prioritize? And how can I do this email for 30 minutes and knock out the important ones so I don't miss the opportunity I have in 30 minutes?
Yeah.
It helps immensely.
So we can coach ourselves on this. We can coach one another as team members. One of our team members, Amy, I so appreciate her because we went through a lot of challenges on our team during COVID. And Amy, she's got such a positive attitude. And that question of what can we do? What is possible from here? We just kept coming back to that. And so when we see our team members, like she saw me getting more and more frustrated and like, oh, I don't know if we can make it through. She just kept coming back to what can we do? What's possible? Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a question I get all the time. And sometimes I get it in private. So here's the private question. What do you do when you might have a few more people that are constantly negative? It can happen. They just won't break out of it. Well, if it's a family member, you can't release them. So there you go. And sometimes you do. But what you do when you encounter what we call an Eeyore, you remember the donkey friend?
Oh, yes. We know who Eeyore is.
Eeyore, everything. Okay, as the leader or the colleague, you just simply say back to them, well, what can we do? What can we do? Usually 5 times they'll do it. And you just 5 times and you just wait. And then suddenly the person says, well, we could start with this. You're like, that's fantastic. Thank you for bringing a solution of what we can do. You have my full support and I'll check in with you Friday. We need to teach them, but we also don't want to fuel that negativity and get into a transactional conversation. No, we're going to teach and model and continue to say, well, what can we do? They have an idea. But for some reason, they're stuck in grousing.
Mm-hmm.
While everybody else has moved on, they're still back there grousing.
I love that.
And then, yeah, at some point, maybe they're not the best fit
Yes.
for your organization and they're a better fit elsewhere. That happens too. But that gives us a tool to just keep coming back.
Absolutely. So it's 5 times. What can we do? And the other thing that I want to point out about the way you said it, you used a charge neutral tone of voice. You didn't go, well, what can we do?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you don't want to combat them. It's like, well, you're not going to get anywhere. But yeah, just a gentle mathematical voice. 1 + 1 is 2. There's no drama there.
Yeah.
Well, what can we do? And then you might have some fun with yourself in your own mind thinking, well, I'll put the emphasis on what or can, but that's the only thing you can do. It is, but it's a very mathematical conversation. What can we do?
That's so helpful. What are can-do-ologists?
Those are people who have gone through enough hard. They have this down so well in their life, in their behavior, that they can actually teach others, in a big way. It's like, it's just so natural for you now, this can do, that you can do it and repeat it over and over and over. So, when we first start, we're a can-doer, we have a positive attitude, but we haven't hit those really hard rocks in the road. We also haven't hit that opportunity to really model and share it with others. So that's a can-do-ologist. It's that next level of can-do.
And I have to share, as I read your book, I brought this book. Denise was so generous to give me a signed copy when we were together, and I brought it home with me on the airplane, and I devoured it on the airplane. And I was ready. I mean, by the time I got off the airplane, usually you take a long flight and you're like, oh, I'm so tired. But I finished the book and I'm like, I'm ready to go. What can I do? What's next? One of the things that really stood out to me is that A players on our teams come with this can-do mindset. And even the best A players get discouraged from time to time. So I love everything that you've shared with us about how, when we get off track, how to get back on track. And the beautiful thing about the can-do mindset, and I'm curious, Denise, if you've had this experience in sharing this in organizations, that there's a tipping point when you get enough can-doers on a team, if that puts a lot of positive pressure on the rest of the team to bring forth the can-do mindset.
Very much so. What did they say? There's power in numbers or trouble in numbers. That's exactly right. And because we learn so much of it, because it's modeled, there's that many more models. I had a previous boss contact me 2 years after I had departed that organization. And he called and he goes, Denise, it's still happening. I said, what? What's happening? And he said, I just heard some employees who've been here longer say to some new folks, well, I know that, but what can we do? I was like, oh, hallelujah, it's working. That's an excellent point, because yes, there is a tipping point where the more that attitude, the more that just filters through the organization.
Yeah. And, I want to speak for small business owners, because when you're the owner of the company, you can feel like you're isolated. Where do you go for that social support? And we've just observed this with 2 of our clients in our Better Business, Better Life program. In the last week, they've really had some struggles. The things have piled on. Mindset was just going down, down, down. And we encourage them, just show up to the meetings. That's the one thing you can do, is just show up, because then we can surround them with the can-do mindset and others who are in a better place, who can remind them, you know what, you can take a small step there. What can you do in this instant to make it better? And I think we all need that social support around us. We need that place where we can go, where we may not feel safe in our company to do that, but we need that place where we can find those can-doers. And you're so intentional, Denise, about creating relationships with other can-doers and the power of we. So before we wrap up here, I would love to hear you talk about the we and how we can experience more of this in our daily lives.
Thank you. Practice those tools, those days. And, to be honest, they're probably fewer than the others, but those days where we do like can do, great, go with it. And the other days we're like, oh, and you're breathing deeply for one reason or another. Practice those quick things. Feel the feels. Shift to neutral, sometimes super quick. Maybe you even feel the imposter syndrome. That can happen too. Same thing. Feel the feel. Shift to neutral. Grab the bottom of your chair. Push your feet into the floor and remind yourself you are not 5. I don't think. There's some 5-year-old entrepreneurs out there. But most of our listeners, we're not 5. We're a professional. We can take this forward and go again. Back to can do. So that's what we do. We do it over and over again. And sometimes that shift to neutral needs to be a longer shift based on what you're doing. And then remember, you still say what we can do and what that shift means to you. The cheetah either rolls over, the cheetah takes 2 steps to the food, or the cheetah goes 0 to 60. That's the cheetah's making the decision. That's you making the decision. You decide. And when you need that community, we've got a growing community, and there's no demands there for you. Yay. There's no drama there for you. Hallelujah. You simply go onto the website, Can-Do-ology.com. We were clever / I don't know that it's a good idea, but it's hyphenated. Can-Do-ology, O-L-O-G-Y. I don't think it's on here. That's can-do. Can-Do-ology.com. There's a toolkit. Click on that. There's 4 tools in there that are free to you. They're in the book as well. You can see them on Kindle. You can see them, in the book, but you can download them. All I ask is for your email, and so that I can also send you some can-do or some case studies. This happened. Thank you for putting that in there. Can-Do-ology.com. It's the toolkit right at the bottom. There's a joy meter in there, and it'll help you identify where do you gain the most joy. And what I love about this meter is not just on the surface, the bookkeeping, the marketing, or the this to give yourself a guide on where's the next place to get some help as you grow your business, but rather on a 3-dimensional level. How do you feel when you're preparing for that activity? What's the joy? How do you feel in the activity? And then how do you feel after the activity? Those can be very different. So there's a joy meter in there. Help yourself. It'll guide you to find your joy and where to invest your time. There's a 3D communication model in there that when we communicate with one another, we want to be clear, define what we're trying to do, design and deliver. And it's a framework for you. So if you are communicating to your team, you can't skip a step. You're in a hurry, but you can't skip that why and why it's really important, etc. So that's the other one. There's a gratitude journal in there to get you started. Yeah, one of the things I learned, I think I stumbled across it, to be honest, but when Dennis became increasingly ill and ended up in a trauma hospital, never do you think your last name's going to end up in a trauma hospital. But when that happened, I was sitting in the room and I thought, oh man, I got to reach for grateful. I got to find some gratitude, and I can't repeat myself. So what I started to do, and this will help you too, stay in a can-do mindset. What I started to do is look for it all day and post it at night. So that first night, I'm thankful for my 2 rescue cats, of obviously my soulmate, my family, my friends. Good. Can't use those again.
Oh,
so yeah, I've already filled the universe. Now what I'm going to do?
Yeah.
So now what I do, honestly, I've been doing this about 3 years, and I post mine I did it every day for a year and a half. And then I took a little break. It drove me crazy. So I'm back at it. What I do is I go through the day and I think, oh my gosh, somebody in this hotel lobby, somebody ran the vacuum and it wasn't me. Somebody is producing this podcast with Dr. Sabrina. Let alone, of course, we're going to say we're thankful for Dr. Sabrina and her work, especially telling us we need a vacation. I mean, my gosh. So yeah, you go on the list. And then somebody somewhere even created the tool with StreamYard. Who were those people? Aren't we grateful? So when the guy came in, and my husband is so ill, but he comes in with a ladder and he gets up and he tests the smoke detector. He made the list. I'm so thankful somebody came in and checked that darn thing.
Yeah.
So when you start to do that, that's the third tool that's in the toolkit. You thought I'd lose my place, but that's the third tool. It'll just help remind you, work at gratitude. Then when somebody serves you and you get that chai tea latte, you say to them, may I ask your name? I'd like to put you on my thankful list.
Wow.
And so you look all day long. Don't do it in the morning because I don't know what happened during the evening. But you do it at night because then you can study and you can use this universe as the petri dish of all that there's so much to be grateful for. And there's a fourth tool in there, and I can't remember what it is.
So they just have to download it and find out.
Download it. It's going to be a surprise. It's going to be a good one. Yeah. Can-Do-ology with hyphens. Can-Do-ology.com/toolkit. Help yourself. I don't have, and I'm kind of proud of this too, as far as what I do. I'm a keynote speaker. I will hop on and do a book club with you and encourage you. I will send you encouraging emails. I do not have a complex coaching program. One of the things that Andy told me is from Security First, the case study I gave you. He said, of course, everybody fell in love with Denise and she is welcome back anytime. I love that. I am not going to email you about my 14-step program. I don't have one. I can just you said it, Dr. Sabrina, you need to surround yourself with other people that can help you. And sometimes that's just a smile and somebody else going, wow, I felt that too. What can we do?
So I want to share with all of you listening, Denise has dropped a ton of easy steps for us and for our teams and how we can help one another when we are in a place of struggle. So this is something you want to share with your team. This book would make a great book club discussion on teams. You could get it for Christmas. It's going to be here in a few months. And, business owners were like, what are we going to get our teams for Christmas? This is a great idea. And make it a team discussion about the can-do mindset. Make it an opportunity to, anytime you all find yourself on a team feeling like, oh my gosh, it's getting really hard. It's heated in this room. Bring out the can-do, bring out the feel it. Denise, I appreciate you being here with us. As we wrap up, I want to remind our listeners and viewers that you can get your copy in the mail of this 4-week vacation book. All you need to do is head on over to tapthepotential.com/assessment. Give us 20 minutes of your time. Take the Better Business, Better Life assessment. Find out where you can focus your business, your highest value time in the next quarter to be more profitable and to have more time for what matters most. That's our gift to you. So tapthepotential.com/assessment. Join me next week when we have to just build on this discussion around mindset, culture, and teams. I'm bringing in a special guest, and we're going to talk about creating these great places to work that attract those with this can-do mindset, because we need a lot of them on our teams. Denise, you've been a joy. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you. Good luck, listeners. Can do.
Thank you for spending time with me today. Join me in our Tap the Potential Mighty Networks community at tapthepotential.com/group. Share your aha moments from today's episode, ask me questions, and join in on the fun with your fellow entrepreneurs on the journey to designing sustainably profitable businesses that give you more time for what matters most and more money in your bank account than ever. Isn't it time you take your life back? And finally, share today's episode with a friend if you know a friend who would enjoy it. This is real life business. Keep your chin up, keep moving forward. You got this.